Yeah, well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's...
Let's face it, Ricky Gervais doesn't pull any punches. Love him or hate him, he's not afraid to call out the so-called elites of Hollywood, especially the woke crowd. And boy, has he done it in spectacular fashion. Let's dive into 5 unforgettable moments where Ricky absolutely obliterated woke celebrities.
Last one, come on guys. Our next presenter starred in Netflix's Bird Box, a movie where people survive by acting like they don't see a thing. Sort of like working for Harvey Weinstein.
First up, the Golden Globes massacre. Imagine a room packed with Hollywood's elite, all dressed to impress and ready to deliver their oh-so-important speeches. Then Ricky strolls in, takes the mic and says, "If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech."
Started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and f*** off, okay?
Brutal, right? But also, isn't he kinda right? These people, jetting off to luxury events, lecturing the world on morality. The irony practically writes itself. And Ricky, he's not afraid to call them out on their hypocrisy.
Remember, they're just jokes. We're all gonna die soon, and there's no sequel. So...
He stood there with the kind of audacity most of us only dream about. He looked them dead in the eye and called out their performative activism. The irony? These celebrities work for companies like Apple and Amazon, yet claim to fight for equality. Ricky didn't mince words. He said, "If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent." That shocked everyone. Before we continue with even more absurd things Gervais has said, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe.
Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself. Just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
The comment about Jeffrey Epstein seems to have an array of different reactions. On one side, we have people looking a little concerned, but on the other side, we have Adam Driver looking like he's having the time of his life watching the Golden Globe speech. Ricky uses his jokes to take aim at the bigger picture, like when he dead-named Caitlyn Jenner. Did he cross a line? The joke seems pretty harmless, but it also successfully calls out Caitlyn's actions during her car accident that took the life of a man.
Not as much as Bruce Jenner, obviously. Now Caitlyn Jenner, of course. What a year she's had. She became a role model for trans people everywhere, showing great bravery in breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes.
Some call it bold, others call it offensive. But Ricky, he just calls it the truth. He's made it his mission to expose what he sees as the lunacy of woke culture. His comedy special Supernature was a masterclass in towing and often crossing the line. One joke about dead-naming Caitlyn Jenner, he was trying to address his Golden Globe speech, but it sparked outrage. Ricky's response? "You can be upset, that doesn't mean I'm wrong."
Many talented people of colour were snubbed in major categories. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. The Hollywood foreign press are all very, very racist. So, 5th time.
Here's the kicker. Gervais doesn't just target individuals, he goes after the entire system. He questions the logic behind the rules of comedy itself. Woke critics demand that comedians punch up, never down. His response? Sometimes you gotta punch down.
Ricky Gervais couldn't be here tonight, so instead we're going to give this to our friend Steve Carell.
Finally, let's talk about Ricky's onstage feud with Steve Carell. Whether it's banter or something deeper, Ricky doesn't hold back. At one award show, he introduced Steve with some biting remarks.
On Saturday Night Live, then went on to create, write and star in our own show, 30 Rock. He was a jobbing actor career not going that well, if I'm being totally honest, who got his big break when I cast him in a remake of a show that I created called The Office. He's now leaving that show and killing a cash cow for both of us. Please welcome the wonderful Tina Fey and the ungrateful Steve Carell!
Please welcome the ungrateful Steve Carell. Absolutely crazy. Is it just a joke, or does Ricky have a point? On the surface, it seems like playful banter, but the repeated jabs about Carell being ungrateful or hogging credit for The Office could indicate some deeper frustration. Ricky's remark about Carell killing a cash cow for both of us toes the line between a joke and a genuine grievance, leaving the audience wondering whether this feud is just comedic theater or if there's a real undercurrent of resentment.
You probably know me as the creator of The Office. No, you don't, do you?
You think Steve Carell did it all? Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he, Steve Carell?
Either way, it's classic Gervais. Bold, unapologetic, and impossible to ignore. What makes Ricky Gervais so refreshing is his refusal to apologize. He's not here to cater to the woke mob or tiptoe around sensitive topics. He's here to say what everyone else is thinking, but too afraid to admit.
Right. It's all stuff like, comedy should punch up. You should never punch down. You should never punch down. Sometimes you've got to punch down. Like, if you're beating up a disabled toddler. You know what I mean?
Sounds harsh. That's the point. He's showing us the absurdity of treating jokes like actual violence. Ricky once said, "If words are violence, what do you call actual violence?" A mic drop moment if there ever was one.
You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world.
Absolute shocker, isn't it? But think about it, he's not entirely wrong. These celebrities champion causes from their private jets and deliver moral lectures from multi-million-dollar mansions. It's hard to think the very people who are responsible for climate change and high CO2 emissions actually care about the world they live in. So how can their declarations be genuine? Ricky already has us questioning whether or not these people are actually fit to be role models. But perhaps his most searing critique is aimed at virtue signaling. According to Ricky, woke culture isn't about helping minorities, it's about using them as props to elevate one's moral superiority. It's a scathing observation, but is he wrong?
If an arsehole is being an arsehole, you've got the right to call him an arsehole. It's great. And it goes on. It's a good system.
And let's talk about the real world. Ricky points out that people get more offended by jokes about war, famine, and murder than by the actual tragedies themselves. You shouldn't joke about that, they say. But Ricky's response? What are you doing about it? It's a question that lingers. Ricky Gervais never fails to keep us entertained while exposing the hypocrisy of Hollywood. What do you think? Are these just jokes, or is Ricky saying what everyone else is afraid to? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more hot takes and epic takedowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.